84DM. This is the first show cause hearing for Mr. Bartnik. He's a self-employed plumber, last known, and he paroled in January of 2022. Parties have a default judgment of divorce signed January 17th, 2020, which orders Mr. Bartnik to contribute child support and medical support for 2 children in the amount of $557 per month, and that charge began February of 2022. The current balance owed on the account is $4,704.50, of which $4,683.50 is owed to Miss Malaska in child support and medical support, and then there are fees. Payments on the account in the past year. In November 2022, Mr. Bartnik made an $800 payment. In January of this year, he made a $700 payment. And the last payment on the account was February of this year for $1,600, which paid the account current. And then an excess amount of $329.50 was released in March of this year.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bartnik, are you currently employed?
No. I mean, I'm kind of... What happened was back in April, I got a staph infection, and I'm a plumber, so it's hard to do. I have an open wound, and I have to get checked out every other week at the wound clinic, and I've been working very minimal. I have not really been working full-time, to say.
And do you have any paperwork regarding your staph infection and your visits to the clinic?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, all right. Because of this health issue, we're going to need to get some documentation on that. So I'm going to have to adjourn this hearing. Mr. Bartnik, you are ordered to provide paperwork to the friend of the court regarding your visits to the clinic.
Sure.
As well as any documentation regarding your staph infection. Are you seeing a physician, a particular physician on a regular basis?
I am seeing two. I'm seeing Dr. Meeker and Dr. Krakowski at the wound, and my primary doctor is Dr. Meeker.
So let's go ahead and send Mr. Bartnik 2 physician's disability forms. Those are forms that you'll give to, you can give them to one or both of your physicians at the wound clinic, or if you want, you can give one to the physician at the wound clinic and the other to your primary care physician. Do you have any questions about that, Mr. Bartnik?
No, sir.
All right, so that's what we are going to do today. I have to adjourn this hearing for the reasons stated. We'll come back and see what the results of the paperwork submissions are and go from there. That'll conclude our hearing.
222DS.
Thank you.
Parties have an order for custody, support, and parenting time signed March 8th, 2022, which orders Ms. Bosma to contribute child support and medical support for 1 child in the amount of $204 per month. This is her first show cause hearing before the court. The current balance on the account owed is $2,455.21, of which $1,981.39 is owed to Mr. Walters in child support. The state is owed $396.82 in medical support, and then there are fees. Payments on the account in the past year. The only payment applied to this account was in March of this year. A total of $2,314.74 was received. 2 of those payments were lump sum involuntaries, and Miss Bosma made a $45.74 payment received on this account of $100 paid.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bosma, are you currently employed?
I actually just started working a month ago. I know that the parenting and child support was agreed on March of 2022. I'm just confused because I had Kaylee in my care from March 2022 till November 2022 fully due to Richard Walters' emergency, which was
that was 2021. I had her in 2022.
Was it 2021?
Yes.
I think it was 2022.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that even if it was November of 2022,
Right.
there
She has
haven't been any payments since March. So Ms.
I
Bosma,
did make a payment yesterday.
okay, how much did you pay yesterday?
$250.
Okay.
And I'm trying to understand why the payment is so high. I do have Kaylee on my Medicaid.
No, you don't.
So Ms.
Yes, I
Bosma, this is not the time for you to request a modification of the order. If you believe that the child support order is incorrect, then you should file a motion
Okay, yep.
regarding
That was
support.
my question. I
And-
wasn't sure if I could verbally file it. Okay.
Those forms are available on the Friend of the Court website, and you can also go to michiganlegalhelp.org. But today, the court is here to take a look at the order that's in place.
Yeah.
You paid $250 yesterday. Do we have any records of that yet, Ms. Mullen?
Your Honor, I do show a payment was made or recorded November 6th. It looks like for $300. It was distributed, but Miss Bosma has an Emmett County case. And it appears that the money was applied to that docket, not this one.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Okay. So Ms. Bosma, you
I
started
put
work.
in
Did you start work yesterday, you said?
a month ago.
You started work a month ago. Okay. And who are you working for?
Bennett Flooring.
Bennett Flooring. Okay. And do you have their address or contact information available?
Yes. I make $12.50 an hour, and I only work 20 hours a week.
Okay. And are you looking for another job to add on to that, or kind of what are your plans as far as work?
No, sir. I actually have twins that are 11 months old. So, it's hard to find childcare.
What are you
for
doing
twins.
what are you doing for childcare right now?
We have a nanny that actually lives right next door. We pay her weekly.
And who is we?
Me and my boyfriend,
Okay.
James Bennett. It's his flooring company.
It's his flooring company. Okay. All right. Okay. So I guess at this point, Mr. Walters, was there anything that you wanted to say?
No, sir.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is let's go ahead and adjourn this case to see if we can get an income withholding order out to Bennett Flooring. Ms. Bosma, moving forward, there's an order in place, and the court will expect you to pay that amount unless you're able to get it modified.
I would like to get it modified.
Well, you might. I mean, I know that's what
I
you
do
want to
have
do.
the other case. I do have another case through Emmett County that I have to pay. So, and I pay the same amount that I pay Walters. And I haven't been working the last 2 years. I had no income. I've been making my payment, as much as I can, and
Well, Miss Bosma, I'm not going to get into any of that today. We're going to adjourn this hearing, and we'll get into this more at the next hearing. That's the for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm referee Paciorka. Are you Joshua Core?
Yes.
Mr. Core, this is a date and time set for a friend of the court hearing, show cause hearing for child support. Before we get started, I have to advise you that you have the right to request a court-appointed attorney. If you make that request, we will postpone today's hearing to give you time to talk with your lawyer. And Mr. Core, are you requesting a court-appointed attorney today?
No.
Okay, Ms. Mullen, please call the case.
Parties in the case have a fifth order modifying order for custody, support, and parenting time signed February 22nd, 2023, which orders Mr. Core to contribute child support and medical support for one child in the amount of $350 per month. That charge began April of this year, and support was previous to this abated from May of 2022 till March of 2023 due to incarceration. Balance on the account currently owed is $3,585.96, of which $3,501.96 is owed and to be redirected to the state of Texas. And then there are fees. There's been no payments on the account in the past year or since Mr. Core was released from incarceration.
Okay, Mr. Core, are you currently employed?
No. When I was released from jail, I found out that my grandfather had an accident, and he's 90 years old. So I moved in with him, and I've been helping him out since January. And I haven't been able to get a full-time job either. I have been seeking work, and occasionally I get side jobs that I can do, but usually it goes towards the cost of living. And I'm not sure why the amount went from, it used to be like $100 a month, and then it went up to like about $400 a month in April. I'm not sure why that happened, because I wasn't working then either.
So, Mr. Core, if you think that the child support order is incorrect, then you should file a motion regarding support. Those forms are available on the Friend of the Court website, or you can also go to michiganlegalhelp.org, and that you can create the forms that you need on that website if you want to try to modify support. But in the meantime, what are you doing for your grandfather?
Just just helping him out. I think he has like Alzheimer's or dementia, or he's constantly thinking people are breaking into the house and stuff. And
does he require around the clock care?
Not necessarily, but I don't think he should be living alone though either. But
okay, so you're living with him, but would it be possible for you to go out to work a few hours each day? Is he okay to be left alone that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just when I was released from jail, I was also on bond for another charge that I had went to trial and got found not guilty on. And for the first few months I was out, it was kind of hard for me to get a job. I was applying all over the place, but because I was possibly going to be incarcerated again, nobody wanted to hire me until that was taken care of. And now that I was found not guilty and now I'm no longer on bond, I can, I'm already trying to find another job that's more permanent or consistent. Because I also owe circuit court and district court that I'm trying to make payments on as well from things that have happened in the past.
And so, how are you going about looking for work?
Applying at businesses and places in the area.
Do you have internet access at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going on to any job websites to find potential employers?
I have. I was told that Clark Manufacturing was going to hire me, but they were waiting for stainless steel. They were waiting for a shipment of stainless steel from China, because I used to do CNC work at NVE, and they were going to hire me to run a lathe there, but because my mom's boyfriend also works there, and he was going to try to get me a job there, but I've been waiting seems like forever now, like the last 2 months, for them to get this shipment of stainless steel, but I'm still looking at other places, but it just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot available in the Cedar area.
Okay. So, Mr. Core, what we're going to do is we're going to adjourn this hearing
Okay.
to monitor your progress in finding work.
Okay.
When we come back, the court will expect you to provide some a pretty detailed update on what you've done to try to find work.
Okay.
And, you're going to be asked some questions about, why you haven't made any payments at all. So if it just continues to be zero after zero, that might be bad. So if you can make even a $10 or $20 payment, that would go a long way towards showing some good faith. In the meantime, the matter is adjourned.
Okay, I can do the payments like that. It's just the $400 a month is I just couldn't afford it right now. But I'll do what I can to make some kind of payment though towards it.
Show some good faith. Very good.
Okay, and also I guess I probably have to file a motion for parenting time because I had complained in the past about it never being enforced. And
that's right. So you can file a motion regarding parenting time, or you can file a parenting time complaint form. Those forms are also available on the Friend of the Court website, and you would file the parenting time complaint form with the Friend of the Court.
Okay.
And so the directions, I believe, do come with that form. So there's two different ways.
I don't think I filled out a form lately, so I'll do that, and I'll do what I can to make some payments.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I'll bring in Ms. Krauss.
Good morning. I'm referee Paciorka. Are you Shayna Krauss?
I am.
Okay, it looks like we've got a good connection, so we'll go ahead and get started. Ms. Krauss, this is the date and time set for a Friend of the Court show cause hearing regarding child support. And before we get started, I have to advise you that you have the right to request a court-appointed attorney. If you make that request, we will postpone today's hearing to give you time to talk with a lawyer. And Ms. Krauss, are you requesting a court-appointed attorney today?
It's okay. So I have a hard time understanding if halfway through this, if I don't, can I still do it halfway through?
So,
Of not
I guess
understanding.
here's what we'll do. I really need you to make the decision now because I don't want the order to be confusing. If you end up making the request after I've already issued it, there might be some ambiguity there. So I want you to understand that you could be held in contempt of court today. That's a potential outcome. In light of that, would you like a court-appointed attorney?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you would please stay on the line so
5DS.
we make sure that we've got
parties in
good
the case
contact
have a
information
second
for
order
you.
modifying order for custody, support, and parenting time signed September 2nd, 2015, which orders Mr. Lamey to contribute child support and medical support for one child in the amount of $213 per month. At a show cause hearing in 2022, Mr. Lamey had presented information that he was having some health issues, I believe, and it resulted in abatement to his child support due to incapacitation from July 11th, 2022 through April 30th of this year. I believe charges were reinstated as there was no further information provided indicating an inability to work, and support was reinstated in May of this year. The current balance owed on the account is $5,393.83, of which $3,959.52 is owed in child support to Ms. Novak. Medical support owed to the state is $913.31, and then there are fees and costs. There have been no payments on the account in the past year or since charges reinstated. The last payment to the account was $184.47 in September 2021.
Okay. So Mr. Lamey, are you currently employed?
No, not really. I've been doing some temporary work just to get my truck legal again. I've been without a vehicle for a whole year. But
And,
no, I'm not not employed enough.
What kind of work do you do? Just
Construction work.
And
Plumbing, heating. I
you
did a few air conditioners this summer that kept me alive. You know, luckily, you know, those pay good, so you don't have to, you know, you do one a week and eat, you know.
and do you work for any general contractors?
No,
How do you get the jobs?
I'm just a lifelong person in the trades. My phone rings almost every day.
How do people know to contact you for jobs?
Word of mouth. And I've been doing it for over 30 years, so.
Is there a particular thing that you specialize in?
Mostly plumbing and heating.
Do you have tools for that sort of work?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the status with your transportation?
I just got insurance a couple weeks ago, and I still need to get license plates, but it's better than I've had. Took me a while to save up for insurance, and I wasn't even physically capable of fixing the truck. You know, this summer I was feeling a little better, and you know, just gritted through the pain and crawled underneath it and fixed it. You know.
Are you current on your insurance?
Yes.
Okay. And is the vehicle paid for?
Yes.
Okay. What is your housing situation?
Basically living with my parents.
Okay. And are they charging you rent?
No, they're geriatric. They're I don't know. My dad just had a triple bypass a week ago, and my mom has dementia. So yeah, they need me there.
And I guess, have you considered maybe working for a general contractor or working for a contractor who could give you more work than you have?
Well, I'm really limited to, you know, how much I can do before I lose feeling in my arms.
You see, are you
the muscle pain's been getting a lot better. I've been going to a chiropractor. The MDs don't seem to want to help me or even recommend me to an orthopedic. My chiropractor has been going through these movements, and you know, my back was pretty much geriatric.
Well, Mr. Lamey, Mr. Lamey, do you are you saying that you're not capable physically of working full time?
Yeah, that's what we established a year ago. I showed the doctor's note that said I was never going to.
Okay, well, I understand, but Mr. Lamey, we gotta get some more paperwork. So here's what we'll do: is we'll adjourn this hearing. We'll send you. How many physicians or healthcare providers are you seeing?
None right now. I haven't had transportation. I missed my last 2 doctor's appointments, and I really can't afford the chiropractor.
All right. So, but you do. I mean, you do have a physician that you have seen in the past.
I don't know. I think she fired me.
Okay.
You know, I got to get a new doctor.
All I can tell you, Mr. Lamey, is we've got to get some documentation from a healthcare provider to support what you're saying. So we're going to
give that a year ago, and the other guy said that I would never have to pay child support again because I've been telling them,
Mr. Lamey,
from day one, I told them I had a bad back, and they've
Mr. Lamey, I don't know what to tell you, but child support was reinstated because the documentation that you submitted, and let's take a look at it right now. Can I look at that, Ms. Mullen? And it doesn't give a date as far as when you can return to work, but you're here today.
My spine's never getting better. That's what it's really hard for me to accept that it's not getting better. I've done damage to my spine. It's
you know, I guess one issue that I'm having is, I mean, this is not a recent form. I know that it appears that you're not seeing a physician at this time. I have some concerns as to why child support was reinstated when the most recent documentation we have regarding Mr. Lamey indicates that his anticipated return to work is quote unquote undetermined. So given all of this, Mr.
I think I
Lamey,
know why.
thank you. Given all of this, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this hearing.
Okay.
I would like you to try and get some more paperwork, some more recent paperwork. We'll send you another physician's disability form. Please try to have one of your healthcare providers fill it out. And please try to provide some more up-to-date paperwork regarding your health issues. That's all we can do at this time. All right, that's the order for today. Mr. Lamey,
I think I know
why don't you go ahead and
unemployment.
And Mr. Lamey, we've got to move on to the next case.
Okay,
I'm going to put your device in the waiting room and you'll be getting that documentation soon. Thank you.
DS.
All right,
This is an adjourned matter from a September 21st hearing to today's date and time. We were monitoring for payments. Mr. Kelly reported last he was a self-employed subcontractor. There was an abatement of support from March 2022 through June of this year due to incarceration. And the parties have a fourth order modifying custody, support, and parenting time signed April 13th, 2023, which orders him to contribute child support and medical support for one child in the amount of $294 per month, and that charge began July 1st of this year. The current balance owed on the account is $3,170.06, of which the state is owed $140.89 in medical support. McKe is owed $2,945.17 in child support, and then there are fees. Payments on the account, he did make an $80 payment, which posted on September 21st, and then a $50 payment in August, and that have been the only two payments since charges resumed.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Kelly, have there been any changes for you since the last hearing?
Yes. So I moved somewhere else, and my rent is higher than it used to be. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure I need to make some sort of parenting time modification, and I actually that was another thing. I was trying to make contact with Kaylee, my co-parent, and she has not been answering her phone. So the thing is, like, instead of talking through my co-parent, I've been talking to her, like, friend of the family, her sister's boyfriend named Ethan. And I've been keeping contact with him because I guess my co-parent doesn't want to speak to me or work with me, which I feel is unfair. And, I'm trying to be cordial about this and mutual, and she always keeps referring me that I need to take it to the court if I want to see her more and everything. And I'm trying to get caught up on this child support. It's just been really tough. It's really tough. And work was a little bit slow. Last month it had me incarcerated for about 9 days, and that put me even further behind. So
what was that? Well, I'm sorry, I did not hear that.
Oh yeah, no, I was incarcerated in Benzie for about 8 or 9 days last month. So I just feel like I'm trying to catch up. I mean, work's good. Trying to get some more work lined up, and right now we got a pretty big job that we're working on in Elk Rapids, and I am trying to make this child support payments, and I'm trying to see my daughter at the same time. And she's in school now, and I was hoping the original court order states that I'm responsible for all transportation, and I also that I should be seeing her from 5 o'clock on Friday and have her back Monday by 5 o'clock. But she's in school now, so now I'm losing a day spending time with my daughter. And I did just move, and my rent is raised now, and I'm not seeing my daughter as much as the court order states. And I understand that she's in school, but I don't know why I can't keep her for Monday if I'm living out here in Kalkaska, where I'm currently moved, and I can't keep her through Monday and then take her to school myself at 7:30 in the morning. I want that responsibility, and I'd like to have her for my Monday.
So, Mr. Kelly,
I'm not sure if that's
you
a
want to-
possibility or whatnot, but
I don't have the authority to change your parenting time order today. What you would need to do is you need to file a motion regarding parenting time, and those forms are available on the front of the court website. You come with instructions.
okay.
You can go to michiganlegalhelp.org and you can create the forms you need there. You file the motion with your court clerk, and then the court will be able to hold a hearing and address the issue of parenting time.
All right, thank you.
As far as your financial situation is concerned, are you current on your rent?
Yes, I'm up to date on that. Yes.
Do you have a car payment?
I do have insurance. I have insurance payment that I make. So no, not a car payment. No.
Okay. And then do you have are your utilities included with your rent, or is that an extra expense?
Oh, you know what? They are included.
Okay. Okay. And then as far as the kind of work that you're doing, I mean, what are you working for yourself or are you working for someone else?
Well, I do work for myself. Right now I'm like subcontracting through Pro Carpet Install, and I've been working with him, and we've got a big job we're doing right now. And I actually just had another person hit me up about a painting job here in Kalkaska. He wants his whole house painted. So I just texted that guy while I've been on the phone with y'all. And so that's cool. That's pretty cool. I'm happy about that. I got that lined up right now. So yeah, I'll get through that and I'll be making a payment for sure.
Okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to say, Mr. Kelly?
You know, as far as the whole going on the front of the court website or whatnot and pulling up that documentation regarding a parenting time change or the modification order form. That's what I'm talking about, the modification order form. You know what, sir? I have done that. I have submitted a parenting time violation form to agreement.
The form I'm talking about is a different form. And if you file called a motion regarding parenting time, and if you file it with your court clerk, and your court clerk, that their office is called Family Court Records. The address is 280 Washington Street, Suite 206, Traverse City,
Family Court
4968.
Family Court Records.
Family Court Records. That's where you file your motion. If you do that, then you will end up getting a hearing date, and the court will be able to address the parenting time issue. In the meantime, I do have to address this child support issue. The statute that I'm required to apply today is MCL 552.633. Under that statute, at subsection 3, the statute states that in the absence of proof to the contrary introduced by the payer, the court shall presume that the payer has currently available resources equal to 1 month of payments. There was no offer of proof made today to rebut that presumption. Therefore, I do have to find you in contempt of court today, Mr. Kelly, for failure to pay child support. Therefore, I do have to place you on probation for a period of 2 years. During that 2-year period, you will have to make your court-ordered child support payment timely each month, plus an additional $20 each month towards the arrearage owed. If you do not make payments according to that plan, a bench warrant will issue for your arrest. The amount of the bond will be set at $500, which you will have to pay or serve 5 days in jail. That's the order for today. Hearing is concluded.
This is an adjournment from an August 17th hearing to today's date and time. The plaintiff in this case is deceased. The minor children are in third-party care. Parties have a first order modifying order for custody support and parenting time signed November 18th, 2022, which orders Ms. Lashbrook to contribute child support and medical support for 2 children in the amount of $304 per month. That charge began February of this year. Excuse me. Ms. Lashbrook paroled in October of 2022. She did have a brief jail stay in July of this year. The current balance owed on the account $3,261, of which $3,040 is owed in child support and medical support to the third-party custodian, Erica Lashbrook. There are fees. Child support arrearage is owed to a former third party, Valerie Fander, is $104, and then there's medical support arrears owed to the state of $12, along with some fees. Payments on the account in the past year, there have been no payments on the account since Ms. Lashbrook paroled. The last payment was in June of 2021 through unemployment.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Lashbrook, what is your housing situation?
I was living with my sister, but I just moved in with a couple of roommates at this point.
Okay, and how long have you been living, with your current location?
I mean, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay, and then prior to that, you were living with your sister?
Yes.
Okay, and how long were you living with her for?
Basically since I've been paroled.
Okay. And why did you end up making the move about 2 weeks ago?
I mean, my sister, my mom lost her place, so she ended up moving in with my sister, and she got a new boyfriend that moved in with her, and it's just really full in the house.
Okay. And with your current situation, do you have to pay rent?
Yes.
And how much is your rent?
$400.
Okay. And did you have to pay a security deposit?
No.
Okay. And what have you made a rent payment yet?
Yes.
Okay. Are utilities included with that?
Yes.
All right. What are you doing for transportation?
I guess basically I've just been having my boyfriend drive me everywhere because I got a car when I got out of prison, but the brakes just recently broke on it.
And when did the brakes go out on your car?
Maybe a month ago.
Okay. And did you look into having that repaired?
Yeah, my mom said she was gonna do them for me, but she just keeps not doing them, so.
Your mom is a mechanic?
She said she knows how to change the brakes, so.
Okay. Do you think she will do that?
I don't know. I'm thinking I'm just gonna have to find somebody that I know that knows more about cars, because I don't think she's got the motivation to do it.
Okay. So what is your significant other's ability to help you with transportation?
I mean, he can help me with pretty much any get me anywhere that I need to go.
Okay. All right. Any health issues for yourself?
No.
Okay. Do you have a bank account?
Yes.
All right. And are you receiving any kind of public assistance at this time?
No.
All right. All right. And then what is your employment situation?
I've been employed at Barrio on Front Street since October of last year.
Okay. So I'm kind of wondering, well, why we didn't get an income withholding order out to Barrio if we had this case in August. But I guess that didn't happen.
I don't show any information to that effect.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. Are you full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
Part-time. Okay. But how many hours a week?
It really just depends. I don't know, it just depends on how many they schedule me. It's because it's waitressing, like the shifts are a little bit shorter, so I think anywhere from 15 to 32 a week.
Okay. Have you thought about getting a second job or doing something that would get your hours up?
I did have a second job at first, but with the hours going into the late morning, sometimes it was hard to get up in the morning afterwards and do that.
Yep.
And I just made more money waitressing than I did at my other job.
Okay. All right. Was there anything else that you wanted to say, Miss Lashbrook?
I never got an order for child support to Erica, and I didn't I don't know after Tim died what I was supposed to do about that. So I
Okay.
I've just been kind of in the dark on where to go with this.
Okay, but you did have a show cause hearing in August, so you would have been aware at least since then that this order was out there, right?
You know, he said that was for fines, I thought.
Okay. Well, all right. So I have to the statute I have to apply today is MCL 552.633. Under that statute at subsection 3, it states, in the absence of proof to the contrary introduced by the payer, the court shall presume the payer has currently available resources equal to 1 month of payments. In this case, there's Ms. Lashbrook is employed. She's been able to make a rent payment. She doesn't have additional cost for utilities. She has transportation to get anywhere she needs to go. She has a bank account, no health issues, not receiving public assistance. The court cannot find on this record that Ms. Lashbrook has rebutted the presumption under the statute. So because of that, I do have to find that she's in contempt for a failure to pay child support. Ms. Lashbrook, you'll be placed on probation for a period of 2 years. During that 2-year period, you must make your court-ordered child support payment each month, plus an additional $20 each month towards the arrearage amount owed. If you do not make payments according to that plan, a bench warrant will issue for your arrest. The amount of the bond will be set at $500, which you will have to pay or serve 5 days in jail.
70S.
That will conclude our
This
hearing.
matter is adjourned from October 19th to today's date and time. Ms. McKe did appear, but she appeared timely. Mr. Ergang had requested at that time a warrant not be issued for her arrest, so she was ordered to present today. There's been prior enforcement of the case, but those were resolved without hearing. Parties have a first order modifying order for custody, support, and parenting time signed May 22nd, 2019, which orders Ms. McKe to contribute child support and medical support for one child in the amount of $372 per month. The current balance on the account owed is $3,116.37, of which $2,804.21 is owed in child support to Mr. Ergang. Medical support owed to the state is $150.93, and then there are fees. Payments on the account in the past year. We had a productive income withholding from November 2022 through March of this year. Current plus arrearages were applied on the account. The last payment paid was $86.32 in April of this year.
Okay, thank you. So Ms. McKe, what is your housing situation?
Well, I have my own place and I have been working, so I don't know why payments haven't been being taken out. I've been working since October.
Okay, so let me make a note of that. So are you self-employed or do you have an employer?
I have an employer.
Okay, and who is that?
Well, it's through a temp service at East Ridge, but I work at UFP Technologies. When I had spoken to someone on the 19th, when I did call back, she said that there was that there was a payment pending, so I'm quite confused.
Okay. When did you start working through the temp service?
I believe they started this because I do the weekend shift. So I think they started it in the middle of September.
Okay.
I'm not entirely, I would have to look at my pay stubs.
Okay. So when you get paid, do you get pay stubs?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And prior to starting in mid-September, did you have work?
I was working at Kendrick Plastics. I don't know why child support wasn't getting taken then.
What was the name of that business?
Kendrick Plastics.
Okay. And how long were you with that business for?
I was only with them for like maybe almost 2 months because they went on a strike and so everybody got laid off.
Okay.
And you know, I have 2 other kids, I have bills I have to pay, a car payment. I couldn't.
All right. Well, let me just kind of take it one at a time here. So do you what is your housing expense?
Well, I have a Section 8 So my rent a month is less. Well, I'd say it's about $300.
Okay.
I cover all the other bills, so like the electric, the Wi-Fi, phone bill, all the food. I don't get food stamps. I have insurance. I have a car payment. And of course, my middle child, she's in school. And my youngest child, he can't start until next year. And I have no assistance from either one of their other parents. So I pretty much do this all by myself.
How much is your car payment?
My car payment is $376 a month.
And are you current on that?
Yes.
Okay. And then how much is your car insurance?
$266 a month.
And are you current on that?
Yes.
Okay. And then electric and Wi-Fi and phone all together, do you know how much that is?
So my phone bill is $132. My Wi-Fi bill is almost $100, so I'd say maybe about $95.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do you need a minute?
Huh?
Do you need a minute?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
And my electric bill is, it really depends on if it's the winter time or the summer. It's my heat bill.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like maybe, I thought I heard you say maybe 130 for electric.
Yes.
Maybe 100 for Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And then phone, maybe 95.
$132 for my phone bill.
Okay. 132. Okay. So, are you current on those three things?
Yes, I take care of them. I get them up to date. I make weekly payments.
Okay. All right. And then as far as what hours do you typically work?
Well, I only work Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 12-hour shifts.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 12-hour shifts. So 36 hours a week.
36 hours.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to say, Ms. McKe?
Well, I don't know if you spoke with Dustin, but we've been on speaking terms, which is a good thing. So yeah.
Good. Okay, so the statute that I have to follow today is MCL 552.633. That statute provides at subsection 3 that in the absence of proof to the contrary introduced by the payer, the court shall presume that the payer has currently available resources equal to 1 month of payments. So this is a case where Ms. McKe is working. She's working essentially full time. She's paying a car payment. She's paying car insurance, electric, Wi-Fi, phone, current on all those bills. I mean, certainly she has income. However, despite full-time employment and evidence of income, she's not made any child support payments since April. The court can't find on this record that she has rebutted the presumption in the statute, and so the court does have to find that she's in contempt for failure to pay child support. So Ms. McKe will be placed on probation for a period of 2 years. During that 2-year period, she will have to make payments according to a payment plan, which is the court-ordered payment each month, plus an additional $20 each month towards the arrearage owed. If payments are not made according to the plan, a bench warrant will issue for her arrest. Amount of the bond will be set at $500, which she will have to pay or serve 5 days in jail. That will conclude our hearing.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Brown, the process for today is that since this is your objection, you're going to give your presentation first, and you'll be allowed to present evidence. And if you Ms. Phipps may have some questions for you. I may have some questions for you. After you've presented your case, then Ms. Phipps, you'll have the opportunity to present your evidence. So that's the general process for today. So, Mr. Brown, just starting with you, what would you like to say today in support of your objection that you filed?
Okay, well, I'd like to say good afternoon, and I'm hoping that we can have some good resolve today after everything's laid out. But basically, I had been involved in my son's life since pre-birth all the way through the pregnancy, through the birth, the 3 days that we stayed in the hospital while he was in the NICU, being monitored due to the drugs that Tiffany was on throughout the pregnancy. He needed to be monitored to make sure that he wasn't going to need to be weaned down with methadone. And I was there through everything, you know. After leaving the hospital, I was also very willing and had a great desire to see my son on a daily basis. Prior to his birth, we had spoke of what we were going to do for custody if we did not resume our relationship. Our relationship was in a spot to where we had reunited with each other, and you know, it was something that was just between her and I because of the altercations and things that had happened at our house with the neighbors, you know, seeing them and being involved and stuff. It was something that she didn't want to be, you know, everybody to be alerted to, that we were, you know, rekindling things. So after she had filed a PPO based on some false allegations, which I, you know, contested quickly, and she did not show up at the hearing for the PPO, so the PPO got denied. After it was denied, she had 21 days to go ahead and object to it. She denied, you know, objecting to it, and she also started communicating with me again shortly after that, you know, within days. So she had started staying with me again over at our house that she had moved out of, and you know, she had told her parents that she was staying with her friend Jessie, because, you know, she didn't want her parents being aware that she was back dating me after she had just, you know, said all these things about us. I'm getting to this point for a reason, that she says that she's scared of me because of my history of domestic violence, which I do not have domestic violence. I've never been charged or convicted of domestic violence. And, you know, I feel like she's just using that as she's been very vocal about keeping me from my son's life. With the PPO, she tried to get so I would be away from him for an entire year, because if the PPO was on her, it would also include my son. So that PPO thing didn't go through. She failed to object to it. And then she started talking to me again all the way up until the date of February 22nd, when there was this altercation between myself and Miss Phipps. I was holding my son, sitting on the bed, singing, you know, just kind of baby talk to him, just telling him what kind of a man, I'm aspiring for him to be and the things that I want to teach him so that he has the knowledge to be the young man that I know he can be. She overheard something that she thought to be disrespectful to her, and it was, nothing that I said to my son was, for one, about her, and it wasn't directed towards her, and it wasn't anything that was negative. So her response to that was to start screaming and yelling profanities at me from across the room, and then telling me that my visit was over, which it wasn't. It wasn't even 7 o'clock yet. And she just instantly became irate and started arguing with me and trying to tell me that I needed to give her my son, like right that second. I was trying to tell her to calm down and stuff because I wanted to at least say goodbye to my son,
Looks like we're having some connection issues, so we'll just see if this is able to resolve.
Dictating everything that happens with my son, as far as when I can see him, how I can see him, where I can see him. And after the first weight check, okay, when we went in to get him weighed after being in the hospital, I was sitting in a rocking chair next to this changing table where my son was going to be examined by the doctor. The doctor comes in, and asks for him to be put up on the table. So I start getting him undressed. Well, Tiffany walks over from the other side of the room and kind of gestures to me like to give him to her. And, I politely said to her, I got it, I'm not having any problems with it or anything. And I was literally, my shoulder was right next to the exam table. So I was just going to get him undressed, set him up on the table so the doctor could examine him. That highly angered her, and she began just being really crappy to me about that. So after we left there, we had discussed writing up our own custody agreement where we were going to share 50-50 physical custody and 50-50 financial custody. Well, I sent her a message about it, and I said, do you think we can go sit down and get something to eat and, get this taken care of? Because I knew that we both knew that there was going to be something coming from DHS soon for her need to get medical assistance for him. She responds to me and says that she's not going to give me 50-50. She doesn't know if she ever wants to give me 50-50, and that I need to just focus on me and not worry about it. So I'm like, okay, the whole agreement with me being okay with him staying with her, okay, beyond the 3 months that we had spoke of when I made the decision that would be best for me to get a stronger foothold in my recovery to reside in a recovery home for 90 days. And that was based on the fact that her parents and her said that I'd be able to have as much access to my son as I wanted. I would be able to stay out there on the weekends and care for my son and kind of relieve her from what was, all the stresses and stuff of having a new baby. I would also be able to have access to him during the week, permitted our schedules. After that weight check, her whole demeanor changed, and she suddenly started saying that I said that you're only going to see him every other day. And I said, why? I have the time to see him. I want to see him. Your mom told me that you're having difficulties because you're too overextended, so you're exhausted all the time, and I'm trying to help you and spend time with my son. So it was her decision, Tiffany's, to not allow me to come out there. I had the full permission of her mother and her father. The only thing that they said was they didn't want it to go past 7:30 because it disrupts, them trying to get to bed and stuff like that. So I went to her mother after she came to me telling me that that Tiffany needed more help and stuff like that. I tried to offer my help to Tiffany. She declined it, and then she got upset with her mother for telling me that she was needing help. So basically, February 22nd, going back to that, when the altercation took place, she wanted my son. She did not want to allow me to say goodbye to him. So I stood up because of the way that she was being aggressive and stuff like that. I stood up, and I'm in the corner of the bed and this giant bookshelf that they had. She approaches us, so she's standing directly in front of my son and I, hindering my ability to move freely in any direction. And she starts, screaming about, give him to me, give him to me. And I'm like, I don't want to give him to you without saying goodbye, and I really don't want to give them to you with how volatile and angry you are. I said that I wanted to be able to step into the hallway or into her daughter's bedroom where there was quiet, and I could calm him down and say goodbye to him, because he was completely fine while I was sitting there singing to him and talking to him about, how he's going to be and stuff like that. He was completely content. When she started screaming and hollering, he became stressed and started crying. So I'm holding him in my left arm, kind of like sitting in my arm like a swing, but secured to my rib cage with my hand under his butt. And she reaches in to grab him when I just said I wanted to say goodbye to him, forcefully, and she tries to grab him. So I turned to my left so that he was outside of her reach. Upon me doing that, she strikes me several times, and while I'm distracted from that, because I got to raise my right arm trying to shelter us from it, she reaches in again real quick and gets a hold of him with one hand and just starts reefing on him until instinctively, as bad as I did not want to let go of him, I had to, in order to spare him from serious injury. And just the whole fact of how she handled the situation, all because of a word that she thought she overheard, or something that she thought she overheard that was negative about her, was completely uncalled for. It was dangerous and reckless, and it ended up traumatizing my son in a very great way, along with myself, because of this whole fact of this altercation with this assault. She used that to keep my son from me for almost a year now. It's been literally since February 22nd. I have not seen my son one time, and she hasn't called me. She hasn't reached out to me. She hasn't answered any of my calls to her home phone, to her cell phone, text messages. February 24th, when I contacted her after the incident to see if she had taken my son to a doctor's office to see, because I was certain that he got injured in some way from how hard that she was pulling on him. And she, at that time, she effectively told me that I am not to contact her in any way in regards to my son or for any other reason, and that we would talk through the courts from now on. So I haven't been able to speak to her, see my son, anything like that. I've had no updates on his medical care prior to all this. I was at every doctor's appointment that he had. all the NSTs and biometrical ultrasounds we had to have from her being high risk because of the substance that she was taking throughout the pregnancy. All of that I was present for, and I almost feel like I have a really good relationship with her daughter. Okay, super close relationship, and it's almost like she didn't want me to have the bond with him that I did with her, so she's controlling every aspect of me going to she's trying to control every aspect of me seeing my son. All the times that I would have scheduled to see him, there would constantly be reasons why she was making the decision to not let me see him after I was already, either on my way out there. And it's just, it's been complete control of my son since the beginning. Now, the whole reason why the visit stopped was because of the fact that of this altercation. I called the police when that happened, and I left the property as I was asked to, and I went out and I parked on the road. Excuse me. I went out and parked on the road on the easement and waited for the police to come. They came, they talked to me for a minute, got my side of the story. Then they went up there and spoke to her, and they came back. I wanted to file charges for, domestic assault and endangerment of my son. So they had me fill out, the paperwork to make my statement and stuff. And then they went in and had her do the same. They said that they were going to forward it to the prosecutor, and, they would decide on whether they were going to file charges or not. Upon that happening, I called the prosecutor's office multiple times to speak with them because I wanted to give them a history of her domestic violence against me. He refused to call me back, like every time I called over about a week and a half period. And when I finally called again, he just happened to be in the office. Before even speaking to me or anything, he told me that he's declining charges and that this is a custody issue, so I need to open a custody case. So I did. I went upon excuse me, I just lost my train of thought. He asked me if I wanted to, he told me to file the custody case. So that's what I did. I went down and I filed the custody case. This took me, what was it, 9 or 11 times of going to the front of the court office to try to file the paperwork, because every time I went in there was one thing that wasn't right. They won't give you any guidance or any help. They just tell you, here's this card and it's on this up north Michigan Legal Services. So it took me about 3 weeks to get the actual order filed because of the paperwork not being correct each time. And it's like each time I went in, they didn't give me the full gamut of what needed to be changed. They just gave me the fact that this needed to be notarized, or this is the wrong paper. I had the manager of the library and the assistant manager trying to find these forms for me as well. And the ladies at the front of the court office, they can clearly remember me being there, like I said, over half a dozen times to try to file this. So once I did get the paperwork correctly, I was able to file my case. She told me that I needed to wait 21 days for an answer. If she did not answer within those 21 days, on the 22nd day, I would come back there and file the default judgment. So I did that. I waited the 21 days, hadn't heard nothing as a response from Miss Phipps. So I go down to file the default judgment. At that time, they tell me that my case had been closed because there was already a case going that was going to address the same things that I was, applying for with the custody order. So they completely shut down my case to supersede it for the child support, when child support is figured off of the custody and how many overnights there is. So there was a discrepancy with Miss Stratton and the things that she told me about how the process worked with how they figured out custody. Because when I got the paper for the custody request or the child support request, it was brought to my attention by a friend of mine that how can they figure out child support when there's no custody order in place stating who has how many overnights or whatever. So I called Miss Stratton with a friend of mine, and we both spoke to her in regards to this situation with the child support and how it's calculated. She went and told me that the mother automatically receives full custody if there's not a custody order in place already. So that told me that if I get a custody order in place prior to the appointment with the child support, that she wouldn't automatically just get full custody. Come to find out, the information that Jennifer gave me was incorrect. And when I called, and I actually sent her an email letting her know that, the only reason why I had postponed my date with the child support meeting was because of the information that she gave me, stating that if there wasn't a custody order in place, they were going to automatically give her full custody and give me child support to reflect that. So that's where I went and postponed my child support meeting in order to try to get my custody order in place prior to that. So that is why I moved my appointment 2 different times with Miss Stratton. Miss Phipps would like to tell that the reason why it's been so long since I've seen my son is because of my postponement of those 2 meetings. My postponement of those 2 meetings was a total of 6 weeks that it delayed it. This has been it's been almost a year since this has been going on now, since February 22nd, and the proceedings with the courts are just now coming to this trial to hopefully something's going to be found out there. But this entire time, 6 weeks didn't cause 10 months of me not seeing him. And none of this stuff caused anything about me not seeing him. What caused me not seeing him was Miss Phipps' direct actions that night. And then instead of her wanting to take responsibility for what happened and her behavior that was completely uncalled for, she wants to throw out this guise of I'm such a bad drug addict and using so hard and frequently that I'm a danger to my son. And that's, none of this was an issue or talked about prior to February 22nd when this assault happened. So I just feel like she has done everything in her power to hinder me from seeing my son and having a part of his life. I am a wonderful father. I have a daughter that's about to be 18 years old in December, the day after my son's birthday. And I raised her almost solely for 9 years, you know, from a newborn baby. I have the ability, the knowledge, the desire, the love and compassion to raise my son, and she acts like she knows everything about parenting, and I am just a complete novice or even an imbecile, you know, and it's just very frustrating to me because there's anybody that knows me and my daughter and our relationship has said nothing but how much of an amazing father I am, how attentive I am. You know, they speak on the bond that we have together. It's just for her to think that I'm at all a danger to my son, when especially when she had me raising her daughter for 2 years, where I was the sole caretaker. You know, her daughter would be waiting for me with her mom upon my arrival home from work at 4:30. I would have her in my care from 4:30 all the way until she went to bed, which was, you know, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Miss Phipps didn't get out of work until after 9, and she went to work prior to 4:30. So the whole entire week, I would have her in my care, and really the only time that Miss Phipps would see her would be for the 30 minutes in the morning that she got her ready for school and drove her to school. If I didn't drive her myself, you know. So for her to sit here and portray like I'm this monster that she has all these negative things to say about, but I was caring for her kid and I was good enough to do that. It's just, it speaks to the fact of this is more than about my parenting and more about her personal feelings and her wanting to control every aspect of my relationship with my son. And it's completely unfair. The second part of my brief beginning that I wanted to address is that upon speaking to the FOC caseworker, I was not informed of any of the process other than Jennifer told me I would be getting a phone call from FOC in the next couple weeks, at which point they would start the process of setting up these meetings where, you know, it would lead to who's going to, you know, get custody and how that's going to work. But it was under my impression from what she said is there would be several meetings that I would have with them. Okay, so I finally get the information from FOC for the date and time of this phone interview that we were supposed to do. I get a hold of Tamara that day. We get on the phone. I've never met this lady once before in my life. She had spoke to Miss Tips prior to speaking to me. And when she got on the phone, she asked me a few very basic questions. Two of them were, oh my God.
Take your time, Mr. Brown. Just, there's a little camera icon. If you click on the camera icon, it'll turn your video back on. All right, looks like we're having some more connection issues. So what I'll do is we'll take a brief recess. Ms. Phipps, I'll put your device in the Zoom waiting room, and as soon as the other device shows back up, I'll bring everybody back in and we'll start back up. Hopefully this won't be long.
Okay.